Hello everybody, welcome to The Shaun Show, Season 2, Episode 10. That's right, we're getting into Week 8 of NFL football. Let's hit the agenda really quickly. Welcome back. Don't welcome back. Okay, so obviously the start of the show is going to be our sim stuff, so we're going to check out the prediction results and then check out the prediction for this coming week. And then we're going to go into the betting section where we talk about against the spread, lines we like, bets, etc. You'll figure it out when we get into the show. Alright, without further ado, let's get straight into it. This is the Shaun Show and the NFL betting show, I think. Anyway, during the preseason, I made a simulation of this NFL season. I predicted every single game, and I predicted the playoff teams and their standings. We're following the results of this every week just to see how accurate we were. And this is what happened in the last week's football and the simulation. Didn't go too well. 7-8. We lost one. We did a rare loss on the Thursday night football. The sim has been hot on Thursday night football. We'll see the record on the next slide, but you know, again, this was made before preseason. The Jags being picked over the Rams. The Jets being picked over anybody. The Chargers being picked over the Colts. Now, the sim picked the Giants against the Denver Broncos. The Giants pretty much won that game. Just the final quarter. The Broncos decided to score 33 points and come back. Tough call there for the sim. What else happened here? It knew that the Saints were going to be bad. It knew that the Bears were going to start having an uptick, which I think you'll see in the picks coming up. It knew the Dolphins were absolutely dog water. Actually, I had a little more faith in the Browns than belief that the Dolphins were doggy doo-doo. It knew the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be the Chiefs eventually. It knew the Eagles were going to be the Eagles. It really didn't know the Colts were going to be a monster house, though. Anyway, those were the results from the simulation that was made before the season. Now let's go and see what it thinks of this week. It was right again about Thursday night football. It did pick the Chargers over the Vikings. Thursday night football, the record is 5-2. That is a lot better than people who see the game week to week and choose Thursday night football. So, me in the past is probably a better pick than a lot of people in the current day. So let's see what the sim thinks of this week. It's got the Miami Dolphins. I think it thought that the Atlanta Falcons were not going to figure it out. They have figured it out. I'd go with the Falcons here. This is a bad pick by the sim. Not much hindsight there. This did think that the Baltimore Ravens were going to continue to be the powerhouse. Now I think, let me just have a look at the injury sheet here. Lamar Jackson is questionable with a hamstring. That means their offense could have an uptick. There are a lot of people out for the Bears. Cornerback, running back, tackle, tight end, cornerback, a bunch of questionables. Maybe the sim's right here. Maybe the Ravens bounce back. What else has it picked? It's picked the Bills over the Panthers. Kind of a common sense pick there. I would kind of... This one's a tough one. I do like the Panthers on the rise, and the Bills kind of have had a little bit of struggles as of late. But we'll see what happens here. I think it's a good pick with the Bills just straight out winning the game. Next, it's got the Jets beating the Bengals. I don't know why. Well, if you look at the Jets roster, then you can understand why it thought the Jets was going to be a good team. But I'm going with the Bengals here. Joey Flacco is on his shit. And also, the Jets have a lot of people out. And I'm just bringing up that injury list. We got Sauce Gardner out. We got Cam Jones, linebacker, out. We got Kene Wangu, running back, is out. We got Stone Smart, the tight end, is out. We got Jay Tufel, defensive tackle is also out, and we got Garrett Wilson out. Bengals are going to have a bit of a field day in this game. Sorry, Sim. Now, if they didn't sign Flacco, this could have been an okay pick. I just read off a massive injury list. I don't know why I just said that. Next, the Sim has picked the Texans against the San Francisco 49ers. The Texans, I believe, are actually the favorite in this one, and we'll check that out in the against the spread pick. I think this is a pretty sus line, honestly. But we're not talking about lines. We're talking about the Sim. It's got the Browns to beat the Patriots. I don't believe that is right. Patriots should win this game. It's got the Eagles beating the New York Giants. Now, it did pick the Giants to win that first game out of this divisional twosome. And it thinks that the Philadelphia Eagles will win it at home. Giants were able to win this big game at home, so we'll see what happens. It's an alright pick. I like the Giants, though. Next, it's got the Tampa Bay Bucks beating the Saints. It knew the Saints was going to be doggy doo-doo. The Tampa Bay Bucks, I think they're dealing with quite a few injuries. Last week, Mike Evans took a pretty hefty, kind of fall / shot. I think he went to concussion protocol. I'm not sure. He didn't look great after it. He was reaching out to catch a deep ball from the Mayfield man, and he's kind of come down on his shoulder, and his head's hit the ground pretty hard. So they put him on IR. We probably won't see him until late in the season. But the Bucks can still pull out a win here. New Orleans at home. I don't think they've got as much injuries as the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. But I'm going with the Bucks. Just like the Sim. The Sim's also picked the Cowboys here over the Denver Broncos. Now, it likes the Denver Broncos. I like the Denver Broncos. I like Bo Nix. Dak Prescott is on another friggin' planet, though. So, yeah, I do agree with this Dallas pick here. It's got the Colts over the Titans. I feel like that's a given. It's picked the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, to beat the Green Bay Packers at home. His old team. One interesting little stat that I heard is that if Aaron Rodgers wins this game, he has beaten every NFL franchise. So the Packers are the last one on this list. We'll see what happens. The Sim thinks that the Steelers can do it. I think the Packers are favored in this one, though, and we'll check that out in the next section. And then on Monday Night Football, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs picked by the Sim and favored over the Washington Commanders, who have Daniel Jaden. I think he's back. Injury report said he was questionable, but still, the Chiefs are the Chiefs again, so notch another one up there. Bye week this week, and I have these guys ordered by their actual NFL standing across both conferences, sorry. And that is the Detroit Lions, the Los Angeles Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, Jacksonville Jags, the Cardinals, and the Las Vegas Raiders. We have 4 NFC teams right there on bye. The season record for the simulation is currently 59-49, so it's got a season pick rate of 54.6, which is very good. Again, a lot of analysts and pros, their season record is worse than this, and they get to see the game how it is every week, and they get to watch the games. Let's go Sim. Let's go Sim. Showing up for the channel. I didn't talk about the percentage pick rate for the week 7. It was only 46.7 for the Sim, but that's alright. One low down week, that's fine. We're still positive on the season, and we will continue to rise. Now, the against the spread section. As you guys have been keeping up with me, my records with the against the spread have been very, very bad outside of week 1. So week 1 I went 9-5. Last week I went 9-5. Those are the only 2 positive weeks. Week 2 and 3, 5-10. Week 4, 4-11. Week 5, 6-7. And then week 6, we got a bit better. We went 6-8, but now we're back in the positive. So I think I'm starting to see the board. I think I'm starting to see the trends of how these teams are shaping up across the season and how they are trending up or down. And also the vibes, just the general vibes, man. We're getting used to it now. Like I said last week, this is an extremely competitive season of NFL football. There are so many good teams out there. And if I was to look at this board and tell you which teams were extremely terrible right now, it would be, the Dolphins. It would be the Jets. And it would be the Raiders. Everybody else can contend in a football game. And I only said 3 teams there. Notice how I didn't say the Saints. No, I did. Who knows? Whatever. Either way, it's a very, very competitive season of football. Now, let's get to this against the spread section. Enough hubris. As you can see on the season record, I am 44-56. But we're on the uptrend. We are on the uptick, as we have steadily been since our big drop from week 2. Now, we did pick the Chargers. No, I picked the Chargers to win. I don't do an against the spread pick for the Thursday night football. I let the sim handle that. But, I did think the Chargers were going to win this game. Next up, we've got the Miami Dolphins versus the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Atlanta is favored by 7.5 points. I've got the Falcons here at 7.5. Now, it is well known that the Miami Dolphins do not have a run game. A run defense, I'm sorry. They don't have a run defense. And I've been watching quite a bit about Bijan Robinson lately. The guy is a weapon. Oh my god. He could be the next one. I think he absolutely shreds the Miami Dolphins here in Atlanta. As I said last week, Michael Penix is getting figured out. They're getting it figured out. I think they lost last week to the Niners, though, but that's fine. This is a very good matchup for them. 7.5 points is... I feel like it's going to be a bit more than that. Now, there is a bit of a meltdown situation going on in Miami. Vibes are real low there. This could be a real dangerous team because while vibes are low, they could just absolutely get destroyed. But if the head coach McDaniels doesn't get fired, there's a good chance that the whole team just says F it and then just explodes. Like, they just stop caring and then they just start playing free. That's a dangerous squad. They get their juju back. Plays start working again. Ooh. If only. Probably not, though. Miami. Either way. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears going into Baltimore. Let me just check how Lamar Jackson is doing. I think he was questionable on this injury list here. I do like the Bears here at the plus 7.5 points. The Bears are on an uptrend. What do we got here? Lamar Jackson hamstring was questionable, full participant in practice, so he's very likely playing. DeAndre Hopkins, full participant. I'm not seeing any outs here for the Ravens. I am seeing quite a lot of outs for the Bears. If I were to go over them, we got cornerback, we got running back, tackle, tight end, Cole Kmet, and we also got cornerback, Tyreek Stevenson with a shoulder. He's also out. We got a few questionables. I'm still going to go with the Bears here. There's a very good chance that this is a huge bounce back game for the Ravens, and I'm completely wrong. But I like the way the Bears are trending. The Ravens have not really had it so great recently. Obviously started out killing it, but without that Lamar Jackson, holy crap, Cooper Rush was not a guy. He was not a guy. Last week, they only scored 3 points. This needs to be a big bounce back game for the Ravens, I gotta say. But I am still going with the Bears. Sticking with my guns. Next, we've got Buffalo Bills going into Carolina. Buffalo Bills getting 7.5 points here. I like the Panthers plus 7.5. I think this is going to be a sneaky Panthers team. They're going to creep up on a lot of teams, and they're going to win some really dog-like games, let's say. So I'm going with the Panthers here plus 7.5. Next, we got the Jets versus the Bengals. Now, the Jets are absolutely cooked. I'm going to find you their injury list in a moment. But the Bengals, you know, they've had this is their third game now that they're going to have Joey Flacco running the helm. They lost against the Packers, but he was able to figure it out and bring it back in the second half. And then they just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers division rival, so that's a big win for them. Next, they're going to host the New York Jets, who, honestly, they don't know what they're doing. In terms of players out, they got Sauce Gardner out. They got Garrett Wilson out. DT, Stone Smart. I've already read this off to you. They are absolutely cooked on the defensive end. A little cooked on the offensive side. I think this is Bengals. 6.5 points. Too easy for me. It's probably going to be quite a large deficit, more than 6.5, I think. Now, next game we've got is the San Francisco 49ers going into Houston to take on the Texans. Texans getting 2.5 points here. I think this line is because Brock Purdy is out with a toe again. But they got Mac Jones, and you know, this offense was kind of built to play with Mac Jones. So I am going. I've picked the Texans here just because I think this is a really stinky line. I don't know why it's Texans 2.5, but the books probably know more than I do, so I'm going with the Texans here. Probably a bad pick. I should change it. I'm going with the Niners. I'm changing this up. No, we're doing Niners. I am not going with this Texans team in its current iteration with that offensive line. San Francisco takes this one, plus 2.5 points. I'm on the Niners. This is the first time we've flipped mid-show, so be excited about that. You know what? I'm actually flipping my Bears pick on the Ravens as well. I'm going with the Ravens minus 7.5. I do like the plus points. I think a lot of games are very competitive this season. But those injuries on the Chicago Bears side, I know have bounced back a little bit. I'm going with the Ravens. No, I'm doing the Bears. I'm sorry, guys. That pick is locked in with the Bears. I'm sorry. There's 7.5. Now let's skip back to where we are. Enough flipping. We've got the Cleveland Browns going into New England. The Patriots, they are getting 6.5 points at home. This Patriots team is strong. Mike Vrabel at the helm, Drake May slinging the pill, being real efficient with the ball as well. He's not turning it over. The Cleveland Browns do have a really good defense, but I think Mike Vrabel is just smarter than the whoever the hell is coaching the Browns. I don't know who it is. So I think the Patriots do win it here, and I do think they clear the 6.5 points against the Browns. Now we got the divisional game, New York Giants versus the Eagles. I did pick the Eagles, I think, in the previous section to win the game, but I am taking the Giants with the 6.5 points. The Giants did win the last game, even though it was in New York. It's always nice to take the plus points if you think the team can win, and I'm going to take the plus points with the Giants. It's just, the Eagles are the Eagles, but when you have divisional rivals who know how to play you, whereas the rest of the league doesn't really, they're good games. I'm taking the Giants here plus 6.5. Next, we got Tampa Bay going into New Orleans Mercedes-Benz Stadium, if it's still called that. I've got the Buccaneers minus 3.5. They do have more injuries than the Saints do, but the Saints still, and for the rest of the season, they will not have Bub Means, so I just can't see them winning any games. Bub means business, and when he's back, Kellen Moore offense year 2. Whew. Sim will have a lot of different things to say about New Orleans Saints next season. Maybe towards the end of the season. But I'm taking the Bucks here, 3.5 points. What I think is a really good touchdown bet is their rookie wide receiver, because I do believe that while Mike Evans is now on the IR list, Chris Godwin is also out, and I just want to fact check that. Chris Godwin is out with a fibula, and Bucky Irving is also out. So rough times ahead for the Bucks. I'm still taking the Bucks. Next, we got the Cowboys going into Denver. Denver getting 3.5 points. I like Cowboys to win this game. Plus 3.5 is an easy pick on that side. Now, Denver is really very healthy. When I looked at the injury report, there was basically only 4 names there, and none of them had any questionables on them. Dallas, slightly more beat up, still very healthy, but Dak Prescott, like I said, is on another planet, man. Just watch him play. He's an amazing quarterback. MVP numbers. That team just needs to make it over the hump in the playoffs and actually win a playoff game. I hope they don't. I don't like the Cowboys, but I'm picking the Cowboys here. Next, we got Tennessee Titans in a divisional match against the Indianapolis Colts, and I think the Colts absolutely slammed them the last time they played. This season, Colts 14.5 points is a lot. The Tennessee Titans, though, Calvin Ridley is out. They don't have a head coach. This is not the game for an interim head coach bump. There's just too much. There's just too much at play here. I'm going with the Colts, 14.5 points. They are on fire. Next, we've got the Packers going into Steeler territory to take on the Aaron Rodgers-led Pittsburgh Steelers. Packers getting 2.5 points here. I'm going with the Packers. I'm a Packers fan. I want them to win. Don't care if it's by 2.5 or 1.5. I'll take the loss here. I'm taking them to win. I'm taking them with the points. Then on Monday Night Football, we've got the Chiefs getting 12.5 points against Washington Commanders. That's a lot of points, guys. I'm still going to go with it. The Chiefs is the Chiefs. And until Washington proves me wrong, I'm going with the Chiefs. Now, last season, the Chiefs didn't really win games by a lot of points, but they still made it to the Super Bowl. They still figured out ways to win. They had a resounding win against the Detroit Lions last week, and I think they're just going to keep on getting better. No remorse, I don't think. They missed out their three-peat. Everybody still sees them as the villain. I think they're going to go on a tear. I got the Chiefs. Next up, lines we like. This is the betting part of the show where I tell you about the lines that I like for this week in the NFL. basically, left side of the screen, these are, bigger bets. The right side of the screen, these are bets that you can tack on to a parlay to help beef it up a little bit. Alright, so we've got my favorite dogs. For this week, I've got the Carolina Panthers. I do like them against the Bills. I've got the Chicago Bears. I did like them against the Ravens, and then I didn't, and then I do again. Alright, the San Francisco Niners somehow dogs against the Houston Texans. We got the New York Giants. I do like them against the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Cowboys, for some reason, are dogs against the Denver Broncos. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are dogs against the Packers. Those are my favorite dogs. What you can do is you can chuck them in a multi. You can just go with one of them. If you don't like them, completely bet against my favorite dogs. But I think they could possibly win their game, and that's why they're my favorites. Next, we got the big spread section. I think the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely just destroy the New York Jets. 20.5 points I'm giving them. I think Flacco is just going to be slinging that pill while there's no Sauce Gardner on the field. I don't think the offense is going to be able to get anything done. Bengals, 20.5 points. Next up, we got San Francisco 49ers. I think they are dogs in this week, but I think they can actually win by quite a bit against the Houston Texans. Nick Bosa just needs to get some crush on. That offensive line is Swiss cheese. Nico Collins is also out, so that offense is going to struggle. Now, the Houston Texans do have a pretty good defense. They don't take a ton of points. So 13.5 might be a bit much, but I just don't think that the offense can do much right now. Unfortunately, they need to upgrade that offensive line. Okay, now to the right side of the screen. Again, these are things that you can just chuck onto your parlay to beef them up. We've got the Bills at Panthers, total points over 46.5. I think that's doable. We got Titans at Colts, total points under 46.5, and that's just because I don't think the Titans are going to score any points, and the Colts are probably not going to win the game 44-0. So I'm taking the under there. Next, we've got the Cowboys at Broncos, the total points over 50 points. Look, the Cowboys generally score about 40 points in every game. The Broncos can score 20 to 30. Usually can win with 17 because their defense is so stout. But Dak Prescott football is Dak Prescott football, so I'm taking the over here. Next, we got the Packers at Steelers, total points over 45.5. This could be a pretty low scoring game, to be honest. It could be like a 17-14 win, honestly, for one team. I just think it's going to be a bit more of a high scoring game. I hope it's a bit more of a high scoring game is what I'm feeling. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do some things to maybe throw some young cornerbacks and safeties off their kind of game. But, we'll see what happens. Next, we have the regular props. We've got Bijan Robinson for a TD. We've got Jamar Chase for a TD. We've got T. Higgins for a TD. We got Drake May for 2 passing touchdowns against the Browns. And we got Dak Prescott for 2+ passing touchdowns against the Broncos. Okay, so now we go to the final section of the show, the betting section. And basically, it's a tradition that we put up 2 bets every week. We've got a 5-game parlay, and then we have our $1 million parlay. We'll get to that one in a second. So this week's 5-game parlay, and I was moving away from playing overs and unders, handicaps against the spread style picks in my 5-game parlay. But if I feel like the team could win, then I'm happy to take the plus points. So this week I've got the Cincinnati Bengals beating the New York Jets. I've got the Chicago Bears getting plus 7.5 points against the Ravens. I've got the New York Giants getting plus 6.5 points against their divisional rival, the Eagles. I've got the Dallas Cowboys getting plus 3.5 points, probably winning the game against the Denver Broncos. And then we have San Francisco 49ers also As I said, my favorite dogs, but I'll just take plus points here, just in case the books know something I don't. Run with that parlay if you want. Edit it if you want. Do whatever you want to it. 5 games is a good number for good odds, and 5 games is a good number for probabilities to actually win a bet. Next, and finally, the $1 million parlay. So the $1 million parlay is a 100,000 to 1 odd bet. You put $10 on it, you enjoy Sunday football, you become a millionaire. And that's right, on this channel I want to become a millionaire, and I want to do it the easy way. This is how we get there. So we got Bijan Robinson, 3 touchdowns. We got Bijan Robinson, 150 plus rush and receiving yards, so he can combine his rush and receiving yards and beat 150. He's done it a few times this season. Cam Scatterboot get 2+ touchdowns. He got 3 last time they versed the Eagles. Now, one thing to note, Bijan Robinson has not had a multiple touchdown game yet this season, but again, the Dolphins are beat up. I think they're missing a safety as well, so if he gets to that 3rd level, he's gone. Next, I got Jonathan Taylor for 3 touchdowns, like he did last time he versed the Tennessee Titans this season. I've got Dak Prescott to throw 3+ touchdowns. I've got Josh Jacobs to rush another 2+ touchdowns here. Now with the Packers, you get into the red zone. They like to run the ball. They've got an absolute weapon at running back. The advantage to running the ball is that the end zone, when you're passing the ball in the end zone is crowded, which can really, possibly give you a interception. Whereas if you just run the ball, you can hold it, and if you don't get there, you can get still 3 points. Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns. Next, I've got Romeo Doubs to pick up a touchdown. He hasn't grabbed one in, I think, 3 weeks. Tucker Kraft has been grabbing those ones on that side of the ball. But I think Romeo Doubs is kind of in line for a touchdown. Christian Watson could possibly return this week, so he might be an alright bet on it, but he will be on a snap count because he is returning from injury. Next, I've got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to both get touchdowns against this absolutely decimated Jets team. They might not win a game this season. And cut. That's the $1 million parlay, guys. There was a bet that I was thinking about in lines we like, actually, that you could probably shift something in that $1 million parlay. And let me just bring that lines we like up. Cannot think of what that line was, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. Anyway, guys, this was the Sean Show Season 10. Season 2, Episode 10. Sheesh. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the football on Sunday. I'll be working, so I'll be keeping up with these scores at least. And I'll be listening to Sunday Night Football, so that will be a good one. Have yourself a great time. Good luck with your bets. Good luck with your picks. More importantly, just enjoy the games. Peace out.